Okay, so we have shit. Well, that did not go well. Oh, bloody hell. Hello, so today's a bit of a different video, a bit of a weird video. So there's this thing on the internet and it's called Tear Maker, and it's news to me and nobody else, probably. This has been around a while, hasn't it? I'm very, very slow on the uptake. So I thought what would be fun today, it's a bit of a change of pace, is I'll just go through some common blended whiskies and I'll tell you kind of where they rank. So I should quickly introduce you to the ranking system. So in front of you now, if I've done this right, should be a table. And it goes A star to F. What's the A star about? Well, when I've seen other people do these, and even in default when you go to make one of these, the first tier is S, which is something to do with another academic system somewhere in the world, which means super or mega, or you're going places, or you're hella talented, or you're going to Cambridge. It's that top bracket. And then it follows as per normal. Because I'm British, and we have A star instead of S, I thought I'd change it to A star, because that's a bit different, isn't it? And the rest of it kind of makes sense, A through to F. F being obviously a fail, and everything through that in decreasing increments, going from pretty damn good to needs improvement. So that's the tick. You know how this works. This is not something I've made up. This is an age-old ranking system that's used in schools to artificially judge your worth, because... Anyway, one thing I will quickly say about this though, if you are planning on making your own, and you want it to look like mine, you're going to have to go in and manually change the colours. On the left-hand side, in the boxes that say A to F, for whatever reason, this thing does it the other way round. So normally, green means good and red means bad. And as you work down the tiers, they go from good to bad. For whatever reason, it has A as red and F as green. So I had to go in and change each of them, because there's not a swap gradient button. It's just one of those things which once I noticed it, I had to change it. So it doesn't matter, but I just did anyway. So we should get started, because I don't know what this is going to look like. I might not even be in focus right now, so if I'm not, this might just be a disembodied voice. So if this is audio only, then I screwed up the focus. Soz. There we go. That's a coverall. I'm actually drinking a whiskey tonight. This is a Kilkerman Amberwick, the port cask. I still have a trickle left, and after that I don't have any smoky whiskey in the house. I've got plenty of other whiskies, but you know, what am I going to do if I need something smoky? Oh, that's the stuff. Oh yeah, and I'm drinking out of a tumbler, just to make sure that you know that I am in fact an alien in a skin suit and not the real John. So we should crack on, shouldn't we? I don't have a script for this. I made the thing and we're just going to do it. Just going to do it. If you've made it in this far, we're about 4 minutes in now, if you've made it in this far, it's like, are you ever going to fucking start? Heard that before. Let's get started, let's go for it. So, first up, Ballantines, or Ballantines, or however you prefer. This is just their sort of core, bog standard blend. I haven't had it in a good long while, so this is going off of an old memory. It might have changed, it might have gotten better, it might have gotten worse. See, it was middle of the road, it did not set my hair on fire, there was nothing that stood out about it, it was fine. I think I had it with lemonade, if memory serves, so I tried it first and I was like, yeah, it's alright, and then had it with something else. I think we were at a house party or something like that. So, foggy memory on that one. I probably should have a tier on this actually, which is like, haven't tried, shouldn't I? That would have... That might be a future for for a future feature. There we go. Those were words. Bells. I've definitely had this. Again, not recently, but more recently than the Ballantines. Ballantines. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Bells served a very particular function, and that is cheap mix-in whiskey. To the amazement of absolutely nobody. It's fine for that. My overriding memory of it is both my dad and my granddad having it in coffee. Normally, particularly with my granddad actually, he would only ever have whiskey in a hot drink. It's the only time that he'd really drink it. And if you've never tried whiskey and coffee, do it. I mean, it's not like a very out there combination, to be fair, but it's good. You should give it a go. Actually, spiced rum and coffee. I tried that a few years ago. That was good. A spiced rum latte, yes please. I had it at lunchtime in the Bon Accord in Aberdeen. Because, you know, it helps you get through the day in Aberdeen. There's a blast of whiskey in your, well, rum in your coffee. I should probably say that was like a sit-down meal. It wasn't like, you know, Starbucks. They're not that bad. Although that totally could work if Starbucks did that. Anyway, moving on. A black bottle. Okay, so I had, again, this isn't like the 10-year-old, or they're doing some new releases with like new barrel releases and stuff like that you can pre-order at the time of making this video. None of that, just like the standard black bottle. I like this stuff. It's not phenomenal, you know, it's not like amazing, but I was pleasantly surprised. I think partly because, obviously, when I tried it, it was when they'd just redone it, right? So it was a new bottling, and I think loads of people were like, oh, it's not as good as it used to be. If anyone's ever watched this channel, they'll be acutely aware of that argument. And a lot of times it does ring true. I've not tried the old black bottle yet. I do actually have some, but I haven't gotten around to trying it yet. But I was pleasantly surprised with the black bottle. I wasn't expecting much, and I think that helped because the whiskey itself was grand, and I just had it as is. You know, I wasn't using it in mixer or anything like that. It is not blow your socks off smoky. I wasn't really expecting it to blow your socks off smoky, to be fair. Had like a little bit of a peat hint. I liked it. I thought there was nothing wrong with it. Chivas. Standard Chivas Regal. Do I put it in A? I feel like it's a contender for A. I like Chivas. I think Chivas is a good product. I'm torn. I am actually torn. I'm gonna stick it in B, just because I think B is kind of like my higher tier for like your standard faultless, nothing too fancy kind of whiskey. Chivas 12, I dig it. I'm big into it. I haven't tried the 18, which is one of the reasons it's not on this list. I've tried to go for like simple, approachable, everyday ones, because obviously this thing's going to be available for other people to use as well. When I've had Chivas, I've liked it. I've had it on its own, I've had it over ice, I've had it with mixed drinks. It just kind of takes whatever is thrown at it, and it's sort of one of my go-to for like your standard blended whiskey. I think that's a very good go-to blended whiskey, but that's me. Did I put a compass box in just because I was worried we weren't going to get any top tier whiskey in this? Yes. Compass box Spice Tree specifically is what that bottle is. It's amazing. If you have any interest in whiskey and you've been alive in the last 5 or so years, you probably already know that it's amazing. You know, you might have even tried it and be like, that's amazing. Compass box do amazing work. They got into trouble a few years ago with the SWA, I think it was. Don't quote me on that because I might be wrong. I think it was the SWA because they were... I think it was because they were putting their cask makeup on it. I'm not 100% certain about that. That doesn't sound quite right, because Untold Riches did that recently, or Weems recently did that, I should say. And they've not had any backlash. Might have been a different reason, but I mean, if they're doing something to piss off big business, then, you know, they must be doing something, right? Copper Dog, now then. When I said blended whiskey earlier on, I was including blended malts as a part of that. So this is a blended malt, rather than a blend with grain in it. Copper Dog, I tried it a few years ago. And again, I really liked it. I thought it was fantastic. Is it an A? It's close, but not quite there. It is 40%, it is chill filtered, it is coloured. If it weren't for those three things, we'd probably be looking at an A. But you know what I'm like, I'm a snob, and I've got to justify that snobbiness somehow. But yeah, Copper Dog, it's kind of obvious what slice of the pie they were looking for, and if it isn't obvious, it's Monkey Shoulder. Monkey Shoulder kind of, I don't want to say redefined the blended whiskey world, but you know, they came in and were like, hey, have you tried just making it with just whiskey? Ignoring Johnny Walker Green for a minute. And they did really well off of the back of that. It probably helps as well that, you know, William Grant and Sons were behind that, and they have a lot of clout in the market. So Copper Dog were like, okay, we want a bit of that as well. They are situated in a hotel in Speyside somewhere. I know that's not helpful as nailing it down. This is not a well-researched video. I'm just kind of going off of my own memories with this. But yeah, I liked Copper Dog. I thought it was really fruity. I thought it was well balanced. I don't think I actually ever used it as a mixer. I didn't. It was really good as a sit down and don't think about it too much whiskey. If you still just want a whiskey as opposed to having it with other stuff. I almost felt like you'd maybe miss the whiskey a bit if you put something else with it. I think I disagree that it's a good mixing whiskey. I actually like it on its own, but I liked it. And we will move on to Cutty Sark. I've had a mixed time, I suppose, with this whiskey. There have been days where I've loved it. There have been days where I've been like, no, I don't know. I can't seem to make my mind up about it, and I don't know what it is about it. I haven't visited it again for a while, and I think I'm due to, but I think I want to try the Prohibition, because I haven't actually given that one a go, which again is one of the reasons it doesn't feature in this list. What was that? There's been all sorts of maladies and disasters getting this video ready, so any kind of like creaking noise, I'm like, what is happening now? Guess whose camera stopped recording? Mine. So I think we were up to Cutty Sark. There's no chance I'll be able to cut this together to make it look like that didn't happen, so I'm just letting you know now. I think we were into Cutty Sark, weren't we? I put it in C. There we go. Dewars is up next. Dewars White Label. I remember having it, and I remember not having particularly nice things to say or think about it. I think I had it as like a mixed drink when I was having it, and it was alright. It's fine, I suppose. But it wasn't great. I'm going to put it in D, because I don't really have anything to say about it. I want to quickly say as well, I'm not tarring all of Dewars. Dewars do some good work. Dewars do some good work. I like some of their older expressions. I just don't like the white label. I just don't think it's all that good. I think you can do better for the money. Again, it is cheap. I still think you can do better. So, but if you just want something to like go in a punch, or again, whiskey coffee, go for it. You know, it's fine. You know, it does do a basic job. Famous Grouse. Oh, do you know, when I initially recorded this, I put it in F. I'm wondering if I'm going soft on it, or if I've just, have I changed my mind? No, I haven't. And you know what, actually Bells in there as well, because they're both pretty much the same, to be honest. Right. Famous Grouse is like a kitchen sponge. A kitchen sponge is a commodity in a supermarket. Ends up on a shelf. There's been no love, thought, or care, or much attention. Well, attention's maybe not the right word because obviously it's manufacturing, but no one's ever going to be passionate about a kitchen sponge. No one's ever going to really care. It's just a thing that does a job. Famous Grouse is a thing that does a job. When I had it fairly recently, I was appalled at just how not good it is. It's meant for mixing, and when I say that, I mean it needs to be mixed. It needs the help because the product on its own is not good. It is famous. It should maybe be called the infamous Grouse, to be honest. It's marketing in a bottle, and we all know the jingle. Do 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 do. Yeah, that one. Bottles with heavy marketing around them normally need that heavy marketing to help shift it because it's got no other selling point. So there you go. But you knew that already, so I don't need to insult your intelligence with that one. J&B Rare, Justrinian Brooks. I'm getting those names wrong, aren't I? Do you know, when I last had it, I quite dug it. I didn't love it, I didn't hate it, it was quite middle of the road. But I had a good time with it. Had like some, kind of fruity components to it. It was alright. Had it, I think I had it with ginger beer. It was a house party, I vaguely remember. I remember the bottle. Because I was like, is that a really old bottle of whiskey? And they were like, no, they've just not changed the design in like 100 years. They actually have, they've tweaked it a little bit. But to look at it, it looks like something out of yesteryear, and that's obviously the point. I quite like gaudy labels, as you would probably imagine. It was fun. Yeah, I didn't have an issue with it. I don't have much else to say about it, to be completely honest, which is just as well because this video is getting on. I have no idea how I'm going to cut this together, by the way, because I'm recording this on the computer, I'm recording it on here, and there is no way for me to tell where I'm up to, and there's been lots of just technical problems, so this... I've made a lot of work for myself. I thought this would be easy. It's, from a technical point of view, it's not. But we're having fun. Sort of. Anyway, Johnny Walker Red. Had this fairly recently. I was pleasantly surprised by this one because it's notoriously bad. In that it is notorious for being bad. So I was expecting, oh, this is going to be dreadful. I've had worse. I'm not saying it's a good whiskey. I'm not saying that, but there was actually something other than just kind of pain and misery, which I was not expecting, because I think everyone likes to slate this whiskey for good reason. It's not great, it's not great, but it's still better than Grouse or Bells. There's going to be people probably in the comments being like, "You're insane." Yeah. Monkey Shoulder. This, we covered it briefly already when we were talking about Copper Dog. I had it fairly recently. I didn't mind it. Thought it was quite good. Does it belong? No, it doesn't belong there. It doesn't belong there. It was alright, it had some fruity characteristics to it. It was, classic Speyside, a little bit of honey. It was quite nice. You can catch my review of it if you follow one of the cards, if I remember to put those in. I probably won't, because I'm a knobhead, so maybe just go through the channel instead. And you'll find it. Type in Monkey Shoulder or something, I don't know. Or if you have other things to do with your day, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, the Monkey Shoulder was good. It's... I'm not going into technical specifications because that's really not what this video is about. But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good. And I like what they've done with kind of putting sort of better quality blends on the map without them being wallet breakers. Monkey Shoulder's got a lot of fans out there now, and it's deserved, really. It's a good whiskey. I like it. The Naked Grouse. This is Famous Grouse's attempt to get into the monkey shoulder crown. Now then, given everything I've said about the Famous Grouse, probably rightly expecting it to go into the F tier. But it's not. Tried the Naked Grouse not so long ago. I was pleasantly surprised. Probably partly because I was horrified by the Famous Grouse. Just by how sort of lacking it was. It is not as good as its cousins in the category, but it's still good. It's a little simple. It's leagues ahead of Famous Grouse, but that's not difficult because Famous Grouse is bordering on a practical joke at this point, to be completely honest. But the Naked Grouse is actually really good. You could have it on its own. I'm tempted to put it into B, but I prefer the Copper Dog and the Monkey Shoulder over it. It's got a little bit less character, so I'm going to keep it in C because it is a little lacking by comparison to its cousins. It is more approachably priced, I will say that, and I do love how they've branded it. It's very simple, it's very to the point, you know, it's called Naked Grouse and there's no label on it, apart from on the neck, obviously. I like that, I thought it was, you know, that's quite smart, I like that. And it looks smart as well, which is weird because, you know, it's sort of the literal lack of effort, I suppose, on that behalf, but it works. It works, so I dig it. That was Naked Grouse. Moving on. Covered this not so long ago. This is the Queen Margot 3-year-old. I haven't actually tried the 8-year-old, which is why it's not here. I liked this for a number of technical reasons, not least because they bothered to put an age statement on there. Everything here is an age statement of 3 years, technically speaking, because you know, none of them state, with exception to the Chivas, actually. Shout out to that, and I think that's it on this particular selection. When you have a 3-year-old whiskey, people are scared of saying it's 3 years old. I don't really know why. They've actually put it on the bottle. Actually, I found this with a lot of supermarket blends. They will put 3 years on it. It's like, I don't understand the logic, because it's like supermarkets are like, oh, we'll put an age statement because people like age statements. And then blenders are like, oh, don't put a low age statement because they don't like low age statements. It's like, make your mind up, which is it? It's either one or the other. So, yeah. But anyway, I'm going to put it in C. It has a funk to it, man. It is funktastic. From a technical point of view, there's nothing wrong with it. I'd say if you're a fan of Springbank, it's a great budget hit. Obviously, it's not a candle on Springbank, but to me, it's in the same rough ballpark that it's got kind of like a rough, grungy, industrial. I'm not sure if this is making any sense, but yeah, it's a jobbing whiskey, you know, and it does fine, you know. I don't have any particular issue with it. I'm happy to drink it neat. Works better as a mixer, but I'm actually quite happy to have it neat. I do need to check out the 8-year-old at some point, because I've heard very good things about that one. Scottish Leader is gasoline. It's not good. It's not good. In pubs that I've worked in the past, we've actually used it for whiskey sauce and stuff because it's about all it's good for, really. Technically speaking, there is whiskey in it. It's good at giving you an alcoholic bite in dishes where it doesn't really matter what flavour goes into it, and you're just kind of looking for like booze flavour. Scotch Leader will do you just fine, but yeah, other than that, it's not good. It's not good. Moving on, Teacher's Highland Cream. Now, at first glance, this would be in the same stable as Famous Grouse, Bells, and Scotch Leader. It's the one above, just because when I last had this, which was a little while ago, again, I will say, there was some flavour to it. Because I was with another friend of mine who quite likes their whiskies, and we were like, oh, we'll give this a go, you know, we got it at the shop, we were at a party. I used to go to a lot of parties, turns out. Apologies for my phone there, who's that? Oh, get back to him in a minute. Yeah, and we were like, oh, that's good. We were not expecting good things from this. We were like, well, it's on offer. And we got it and we were like, oh, that's actually quite nice. Quite like that. Might have been because we'd already had a few beers at that point and that was obviously affecting our judgment, but do you know what? Dug it. I didn't have an issue with it. I've been saying dug it a lot in this video, haven't I? It's kind of a weird, I'm not going to make that into a catchphrase or put it onto a t-shirt. That's not a good phrase, is it? 3 more, we're nearly there. Oh, mixed bag hit. Right, so Timorous Beastie. This is a blend from Douglas Lang. Do you know what? As I was coming up to it, I was like, well, I hope I don't forget who it is, and then immediately forgot. Douglas Lang. It's one of their regional malts. Now then, I've not done all of them, for the simple fact this is the only one I've tried. But I can add in others afterwards if I want to. That's fine. But I think Timorous Beastie, I don't know if it is the most readily, it's not the most readily available. They're all available with each other because that just kind of makes sense. Yeah, I had the Timorous a while ago. I thought it was very good. It's a wonderful blend. It's very flavoursome. It's not over the top. It doesn't have like one particular character that comes out too much. It's very, technically speaking, well balanced. I don't like using the word balance too much because it sounds like you don't have anything else to say. I remember it having like quite fruity, a little bit grain, like not grain, well, I say bready almost components to it. I enjoyed it, and this was one that we had neat. One of my old flatmates had a bottle and we shared a glass one of the nights, and I was like, oh, it's a blend, how good can that be? And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's actually really good. So yeah, that was one of my first encounters with a blended whiskey that I was like, oh, actually that's quite nice. They're not all terrible. So maybe I'm being a bit biased with putting it in the A because obviously that will have had an effect, but I think it deserves it, so I'm sticking with it. Whyte Mackay. It's not good. You're probably noticing a pattern coming in at this point in that, you know, you're more kind of like your core whiskies that you see on shelves all the time. Is it just that I hate a big brand? Probably. Actually, no, it's not that. I've tried all of them and I've been like, yeah, you can do better, lads. Especially with the resources they have available, they could definitely do better, I'm sure. Every time I try Whyte Mackay, I'm just like, you're not trying, are you? This is not a good product. And I'm in a privileged position to be able to say it did used to be better because I have tried old Whyte Mackay blend, night and day. I mean, obviously, you know, they had access to better stocks for cheaper, blah de blah, you know, the market's changed. And they have to keep the brand going, so obviously this is going to kind of be like the bad times. But I have to call it as I see it, and in its current condition, yeah, the bottle's changed, the label's nicer, but the contents ain't good. Ain't good. I wanted to like back Whyte Mackay as well, because I was like, a few years ago I was like, right, what's a core bottling that's good? And I was like, the Whyte Mackay, I've not tried that in a while. That can't be so bad, you know, went into the business a little bit, you know, they seem to know what they're doing. And I tried it and I was like, oh, that's not great at all, is it? That's not good. It's one of those ones where you can just do better for the money. So you should. And lastly, Crabbie's Yardhead. Hate to end on negative, but it's also an F. I don't even have to think about that one. again, I don't want to tar them with the same brush. This is not good. It's not. It's gearing itself as like a blended whiskey. We did a tasting of this, one of the sites that I used to work at, and myself and the GM kind of looked at each other and we were like, because normally when you're at a tasting, you know, they will do, sometimes at tastings, a rep is well aware of the limitations of one of the brands they're trying to flog, and they will present it in a way that either you don't notice or it presents it in a better light. And there's various ways you can do this. You can tell a story, you can introduce mixers, you can do cocktail serves. We tried it neat. And I think the rep that was doing the tasting was normally their gin rep. So maybe they weren't even aware that the product wasn't great. Yeah, I've had some of other Crabbie stuff, and it's better. But it is probably also worth noting that, you know, they don't actually produce any of their own stuff yet. Crabbie have gone down an interesting road in that they are doing independent bottlings at the minute. And this one in particular does not get you excited for what they're doing. Because obviously they're trying to build the brand back up and say, hey, we're producing whiskey again. This is a very dangerous way of trying to get the name out. I'm just going to say it out there, you know, from a point of, you know, wanting to take a positive out of this. Obviously it ends up on, you know, supermarket shelves. It has the potential to bring in money because it is affordable. A lot of people have brand loyalty in that kind of category. I'm not saying it's not doable. I'm just saying you run the risk of alienating more people than you get on board. But it's done now. And yeah, not a great product, unfortunately. I rate their gin. I rate their independent bottlings. I think, you know, they're all quite good. It's just this one really lets the side down, and it's a shame. Because I'm maybe less excited for what they will ultimately put out. But anyway, I feel like I've left this on a real downer. Let me know down below, what do you think of these rankings? It does look like I don't like blended whiskey off the back of this, doesn't it? Because there's not very many in the higher tiers. It's very much bottom heavy, this one. Which I wasn't actually intending when I went into this, but they're my thoughts. This was fun. It was fun to do. It was not so much fun with everything breaking down, but hey ho, we had a laugh, didn't we? The link to this will be down below in the comments if you want to use it yourself, or if you want to request particular bottles being added to it. Let me know down below. I can get that knocked up in not too much time. For now though, I will say thank you very much for watching. Let me know down below as well, was this good? Should I do more of these? I mean, I will do one more. I'll do an Isla video. Probably tomorrow now. This took longer than I thought it was going to. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and do join me next time where I'll be doing something.